Hello friends, and welcome to today's project of making pain de Gênes, or in this case, a hazelnut pain de Gênes. The ingredient list is in the description. Pain de Gênes, which literally translates to Bread of Genoa, is a cake made largely from almond paste, eggs, melted butter, and only a minimal amount of flour. I decided today to make a hazelnut version because you can always make the almond version. And also, I will be pairing this with some rich dark chocolate ganache, and is there really a better pairing than ganache and hazelnuts? Let's start with the base. I will be using hazelnut butter. One of the reasons I'm using hazelnut butter is because it would have already been crushed, and its natural oils would have come out, thus giving the cake extra flavor. Also, this is roasted hazelnut butter, giving that extra depth and flavor as well. There will be some separation, but not to worry, we will take care of that. Get yourself a pestle and mortar. We're going to crush the hazelnut butter even more to make the pieces uniform. And as well to incorporate back and emulsify the oil separation. Pour in 160 grams of hazelnut butter and pound away for a few minutes. You might be asking, why don't I get smooth hazelnut butter? Well, here's the reason. I would, but I still want to have some hazelnut texture when I'm eating this cake, and that's why I went with the chunky version. Next, to give it some body and a secondary nut backbone to this cake, I'm going to add in 64 grams of ground almonds. Mix this until it is nicely incorporated. Now that it has combined, you can transfer it to a bowl. This next part is optional, but I find it helps. We're going to warm up the two nuts slightly. This will help in the next stage. Place it in the microwave in 30-second intervals. We don't want it to be super hot. Next, take a mixing bowl. Place the warm nut mixture in. Then pour in 96 grams of sieved icing sugar. It has to be sieved, otherwise you will get unwanted lumps. Then take the bowl over to your mixer with a whisk attachment. Turn the machine on to medium to low speed. Mix it until everything gets blended in. While this is happening, take about 6 eggs, as we need 315 grams of whole eggs. Slowly pour in the eggs into the sugar nut mixture. Whisk this for at least 10 to 15 minutes to give it loads of volume and for it to become aerated. As it becomes fluffy, the color will also become lighter. While making the sponge mix, this is a very different approach or method. Usually you would mix your eggs with just sugar or cream the sugar with butter, but in this case, it is nuts and eggs first. So just to recap, the reason why I asked you to warm up the nut mixture is because eggs whip up better when they're slightly warmed up. And previously the nut mixture was either cold or at room temperature. Heating the eggs slightly loosens the protein bonds, which then becomes easier to beat air into them. Heating the eggs gives the resulting whipped eggs more stability when dry ingredients, liquids, and fats are added later. It ensures that the air which has been whipped into the eggs remains even after the ingredients are folded in. While that is whisking away, let's go ahead and prepare our baking tin. This is a 9-inch round baking tin. You will need to line the base and sides with baking paper. This is just an insurance to prevent the cake from sticking. Cut the necessary shapes out of baking paper. Then using a spray or paper towel with some oil, stick the desired baking paper in the areas. Make it smooth to ensure a clean bake. Trim any extra baking paper. Once that is ready, place that to one side. Let's check back on the egg mixture. That looks light and well aerated. Place a sieve on the top. Measure out 60 grams of high gluten flour. This will give the cake some structure. Pour that over the sieve, then measure out 4 grams of baking powder. Pour the baking powder on the top of the flour. I'm not using a lot, because the aerated egg mixture will help it rise. Sieve the 2 dry ingredients. The baking powder in this case is just there to help me, because I'm using 2 nuts which can be heavy and cause the cake to collapse. Now carefully fold in the dry ingredients. Go in a folding motion from the bottom and then up towards to bring the mixture around. Once you don't see any white or dry ingredients, it is done. Do not overmix this. In this case, less mixing is more. Pour the mixture into your already prepared cake tin. You are allowed to tap down once or twice. This is just to eliminate any major big bubbles. Place the cake into your oven that has been already set at 180 degrees Celsius for about 15 to 20 minutes to start with. I had to add another 5 minutes after 20 minutes. Take your cake out once it is dry from testing the middle with a skewer, or in my case a thermometer, and once the internal temperature reaches about 100 degrees Celsius. Don't worry about the cracks on the top, as it will come down, and as well it will be decorated on the top, so we can hide that. After 1 hour of cooling down, you can remove the cake from the cake tin, and you can also take the baking paper off. Just have a touch, it feels super soft and moist. I love the word moist when describing cake. I don't see what's the problem with describing a cake being moist. After 2 hours, you can wrap the cake all around with cling film. This will ensure that it doesn't dry out and will be moist when it comes time to decorate this cake. Now that the cake is done, let's make the topping, which will be a basic dark chocolate ganache but with a slight twist. I will be using whipping cream. Take a small pot and pour in 300 grams of whipping cream. Take it over to the stove and turn on the heat to medium to high. We want the cream to boil. Once it has come to a boil, take it off from the stove and place it to one side. Measure out 60 grams of honey. This will counter the bitterness of the dark chocolate. Pour that in and give that a mix. Then we will be using some liquid glucose. This does two things. This will stabilize the chocolate and at the same time make it flexible. Measure out 30 grams of liquid glucose. Pour that in as well. Give it a good mix. The heat will definitely dissolve the honey and liquid glucose. Next, I'll be adding in some Madagascan vanilla bean paste. 10 grams is all that's needed to pair up with this ganache. In the meantime, grab yourself a large bowl, and now for the chocolate. I will be using chocolate from Callebaut, but you can of course use any kind. This is 70% dark chocolate. What a great pair, hazelnut and dark chocolate. You can't go wrong here. Measure out 200 grams, pour it in a bowl. Now you can pour in some of the cream mixture. Do this in stages. Doing it in stages allows the mixture to fully emulsify. Let that sit for at least 2 minutes to melt slightly, then mix it with a rubber spatula. Once you start to see that there is no cream mixture, pour in some more. And repeat for about 2 to 3 more times. Let's check back on the temperature of the mixture. It is about 43 degrees Celsius, which is a great temperature for the next step in this process. Measure out 100 grams of cubed butter. Make sure the butter is at room temperature. You can use a microwave to help you. You can use salted butter here, as the salt will help in bringing out the chocolate flavor. Try not to use a whisk. We don't want air bubbles in the ganache. To eliminate air bubbles, just spin the bowl and most of the tiny bubbles will be pushed to the side and get destroyed. Now let's pour this ganache into a container to let it crystallize and firm up. Place some cling film over the surface. This will prevent the surface from drying out. Leave that to one side in a cool and dry area of your kitchen. In the meantime, while waiting, do check out my other videos. We can now leave the cake and the ganache for the next day. The next day. Let me show you this little gadget that I bought. This is a small mini pottery wheel with adjustable speed. This is meant for turning clay, but I decided to use it to decorate this cake. You will see what I mean in a moment. If you are wondering, no, I don't do mini pottery because my fingers are just too big for that kind of stuff. Now let's check on the cake. Unwrap the cake. Ooh, that feels moist. The surface is flattened, which is good for the decorating part. Place the cake and base plate on the spinner. Try and make it centered. You might have to do some readjusting. Once you are comfortable with the centering, you can now work on the speed. You will want it at a nice constant slow speed. Now, let's check on the ganache. Peel back the cling film and check it out. It has set beautifully, shiny and creamy. I will be using a round tip piping nozzle. The size is up to you, but remember, this is a very rich ganache. Fill a piping bag with the ganache. Let's do a test first to see if the ganache will pipe well. Well, there you go, it holds up well. Alright, now is the moment of truth. No pressure on me. I'm gonna take a deep breath. Here goes. Try and follow the speed of the rotation. Phew, that was challenging, but once you do that for about 10 times, you will get the hang of it. You would have probably seen some air pockets. No worries there, we can fix those. But first, in order to give it a nice base shiny coat, use a blowtorch to just kiss the surface gently. This will bring out the gloss in the ganache. Now, as for the pockets of air, we can hide it. We can dust some cocoa powder, or if you have some whole roasted hazelnuts, you can place a few around where the holes are. Or if you want to be extra fancy, if you have some edible gold leaves, you can use that too. There you go, a simple cake that speaks for itself. Also, when you cut out an individual slice, you can barely even notice the imperfections from the air pockets. I really like looking at the consistent uniform lines. I'm going to have a taste. It's hard to take me seriously with chocolate lips. This is one rich but light and moist cake. So nutty and so chocolatey. It isn't super sweet, and the dark chocolate just makes this cake even more sophisticated. You could do a toned down version and use milk chocolate, so the kids could also enjoy this. You could even check out my video on whipped ganache, if you want something with a different mouthfeel. A link for that is in the top right corner. What is missing here is a glass of milk. Well, there you have it, pain de Gênes. Make it with however you like, with whichever nut and chocolate. If you have enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, bye for now.